Welcome to episode 15 of, just a bunch of videos of Dan Tack and me, Tim Turi, playing Dark Souls.
Yeah, we're just kind of hanging out.
We're just mostly hanging out,
There's no goal in mind.
killing dragons with the just longest possible route.
I mean, this is really just a venue for me to complain about movies I don't like. That's
good. I've been wanting to get that out there, That's actually why I even tried to, push for this entire coverage trip and this cover story and all the coverage we've gotten out of it.
Yeah.
Was just a means to an end to play this game with you and open up some time to talk about movies.
I mean, it's worked.
Yeah.
Your plan worked, Tim.
Good.
This is what we're doing now. So these enemies down here are extremely farmable. You want to get into them when they're still a pack and just crush them all as a group.
All right.
If you let them spread out, it's really bad.
Okay.
Like if you get in there and behind them, you can kill them really easy. Yeah. This reminds me. Okay, you should have never gone away. Like you need to get in there and kill them all before they spread out.
All right. I'm on it.
Yeah. This reminds me a lot of an area in Bloodborne, actually, where I farmed the souls in the lecture hall. Just a big clumped up mass of guys you can easily farm with a few attacks.
Okay. So they did go down with like 3 or so?
It's usually pretty clean, like
yeah, actually
500 souls a pop. As you can see, this is a lot of souls in a very short time.
And they're
once you get the hang of it.
Slow.
Yeah, they're terribly slow. This spot was created to farm, if you ask me.
Yeah, it seems
2 seconds away from the bonfire. This is Miyazaki's way, I think, of saying,
because I'm sorry.
If you get trapped down here, you can level your way out.
Yeah, I guess that's good to have. That's actually like really good design.
I would say that he is a master of design.
So, you said that you were late to the party on Dark Souls a little bit.
I was. I played on release and hated the game.
Okay. And was that after having tried out Demon Souls as
I hadn't tried out Demons at all at that point. I played Demons After Dark because I did not own a PS3.
Demons After Dark sounds
That's right. My first experience with Dark Souls was, what is this? I don't know what's going on. This isn't worth my time. This is dumb.
Okay.
And then, of course, the second time back to the game, it became one of my instant favorites, and it is a hallowed classic in my...
Okay. Well, good. I'm excited that you came around. I'm going to stop right here, and I'm making a little note that Demons After Dark is going to be the name of our drunken Demon Souls live stream.
Oh, I think we should definitely do that.
Yep.
That's a great idea for a stream.
Okay, got it. It's written down.
We'll drink a beer every time you die.
That sounds perfect. A whole beer.
Yeah, a whole beer.
All right, so we're just going endurance. And what's our goal on that?
Just keep going for now.
Okay.
Like it's very important for this build.
Okay.
We're going to be having some extremely heavy armor come into play here soon.
Okay.
And it'll also give you that delicious 3-swing window that you want with a big heavy sword.
Yeah. Oh yeah, big time. That sounds tasty.
Since you use the big slash, though, I don't know if it's as important to your build.
We'll see. You know what? Maybe I should see what... Oh, does the quick slash do... That kills them. So
quick slash is a big deal.
But I was curious, what was it like watching sort of the big turn on the From Software Souls games?
It was great. I obviously for me as a fan, sure, I was like, man, I'm really glad people are finally... things had to change, right? Mm-hmm. I have nothing against games that have hand-holding as an element or long tutorials. Some games really need them, man, I wish I could talk about... Okay, I'm playing one game for a review now that has a tutorial that's 7 hours, okay?
That's a little long.
But it's necessary for the game the type that
sure.
it is. So I'm not against tutorials, and I'm not against, I don't know, just the whole, oh, here's a cutscene, just press X.
Too hand-holdy, basically.
There's a point where it gets... This is the opposite extreme, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess in some ways the game feels like a counter movement to me.
Yeah, and playing, I played a little bit of Mad Max, and I'm actually enjoying it. I enjoy that game more than I think a lot of critics have. It seems actually it's been pretty well.
The audience seems to love it.
Yeah, and regardless, the one thing that it does do poorly is just you're starting to feel all right, I'm getting some momentum, and then it's just pause, wall of text.
Right.
This is what this new system does, and they're introducing a new system every several minutes, it feels like.
That's one of the things about Dark Souls. You're constantly bombarded by new systems,
right.
But you'd never know it.
Yeah. I think actually Metal Gear really pulls it off. But we've said a lot about Metal Gear. Are you playing that at all? I don't know.
I still have. It's on my list of stuff that I'll probably never get to play this year.
Perfect. Yeah.
It's very high up on that list, I might add. I'd love to play it.
Well, your value, especially like talking about end of the year when it comes down to like some game of the year discussion.
Oh, I don't even want to think about that. It's.
I mean, Dan, your opinion becomes so important because you play so many of these, nitty gritty PC games that. Not all of us.
So
can
when we talk about
get
Dark
around
Souls,
to.
are we talking about a nitty gritty PC game?
No, I'm not talking about.
Because I'd actually say that after the PC community, embraced and fixed this game, like Durante came out with DS Fix, which basically saved this game from being one of the worst ports ever. I mean, it's just been incredible. The reception on PC has been great. I think the PC audience really understands a game like this.
Right.
It's not bewildering to them. They just kind of, and I'm not saying it would be to a console user. I'm just saying like they're like ready and willing to just grit their teeth and say, I know nothing about this game. I don't care. Let's do it.
Which is too bad about Bloodborne anyway, because
I would love to see Bloodborne on PC. My goodness, it would have that load time. I probably would. Bloodborne on PC. I could have easily seen giving it a 10.
Yeah.
No load time issues.
Have you gone back to it
glorious.
since the load time has been fixed?
I am actually waiting to go back to it for the much lauded expansion, which is coming sometime.
Which, when we went to it's not just a thing
Oh, no,
that Shu Yoshida said.
I saw screens, man.
Yeah.
I saw them actually like working on it. I saw like a tri-cornered hat and some other really cool stuff.
Oh my gosh! Wait, confirmed right here.
Yeah.
Tri-corner hat in Bloodborne.
I
Wait,
saw
there's
something
actually
like
several.
that. Okay, yeah, there already is, but yes.
But ain't nobody wearing tri-corner hats in Dark Souls.
Not yet.
No. Wait for the DLC.
We got Dark Souls 3 coming, man. You never know.
13 is what we're looking for. Okay. Dark Souls 3, man, tri-corner hat edition.
See, this is a pretty popular farm spot, I'd say. Like,
I can see why.
we're just hanging out.
I mean,
It's easy to get souls.
If I was hitting even a little bit harder, I could see why. I wonder if I can take out those guys with a big swing. I'm gonna check it out because that's what farming is, right? It's just getting it down to a science.
Right. It's just about the most efficient souls possible. And we haven't farmed at all this playthrough, so I'm sorry that we're doing a little bit, but kind of just want to have Tim going his best foot forward with Ornstein and Smoke coming up.
But kind of sorry, not sorry, right? Because this is part of the game.
Oh, dude, farming is a traditional part of this game. We would have farmed in several other areas as well, like a lot of players would. But I also admit that it's not the coolest thing to watch.
Yeah, we did do, we've mentioned it. We did a little bit of it off camera.
Oh, it was very small. Like, we did maybe 10, 20 minutes of it off camera with
we
the
were
dragon.
Just being opportunists. On our initial sprint, just to get our heels dug in this game, we were ordering some Jimmy John's and just...
Oh, it was great Jimmy John's, by the way. I remember it to this day.
I don't know if you're being sarcastic, but I don't mind Jimmy. I like Jimmy John's.
I like Jimmy John's.
Yeah, okay.
I love Jimmy John's. They had it at, I went to Michigan State University, and it's a big thing there.
It's the staple?
Jimmy John's, yeah. Yeah.
What was your favorite pizza place at Michigan?
Favorite pizza place?
Yeah.
Well, we had this really cheap place when I was a freshman there. That's everybody ordered from. But it went away, I think, my sophomore or junior year.
Too many food poisoning cases.
Yeah, actually, I think that
was that it? Oh, okay, all right.
This was a place where you could get just like the cheapest pizza imaginable.
Man.
Like, it was perfect for certain activities. Like, you just want pizza, right? And it was super cheap. I mean, like, you want like a $4 pizza, full pizza.
You want a $4 pie?
This was a thing.
We are not going to cook this thing.
Right.
Here you are. Cook it in your stomach, you dumb student.
That's exactly what it was. And they shut down, I think, halfway through. Probably for the best.
Okay.
But it was great pizza. I was there. Outside of that, it probably like the best. I think that's tough. We didn't have great pizza. We had lots of chain places like Gumby's, Cottage Inn, Jimmy John's.
Cottage Inn?
Cottage Inn.
Oh, Cottage Inn.
I've never had it. They have a pretty good deep dish, actually. But
actually, in Minneapolis, we opened up a Giordano's. There's one in Uptown.
Yeah.
Which is why I mentioned it, because it's like a famous
we've got some
Chicago
killer pizza places
deep
here.
dish chain, yeah.
Apparently, so I've enjoyed that.
There's a place called Pig Ate My Pizza, which is supposed to be...
for a college town, I got to say, East Lansing didn't have great pizza.
No.
We had other good stuff, like wings and burgers. We had good stuff there. Oh, gosh.
I was just about to say, like, we haven't died in this farming run yet. Yeah. What I was going to mention is, like, I realized I was a commuter student in college. I mean, I would go and eat occasionally around then, but, I didn't have a lot of money for that, which is why I didn't stay in the dorms.
Who did? Yeah.
But I realized after the fact how much of a gamble trying to find food around a college campus could be. There was a place...
It's a gamble? I mean... Is it a gamble?
I don't know. I mean, just
there's always food there.
Food quality.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm referring to.
That can be
specifically.
real.
But there was a place called Village Walk, a Chinese place, super cheap, just a walk from campus.
I think is that a chain? It sounds familiar.
Maybe. I haven't seen many of them, but regardless, I 100% ratio of getting food poisoning, and
And you still go back there, right? It's like maybe this time it'll be better.
Come on, has my stomach figured it out yet? I've leveled up my constitution.
There you go.
But no, I stopped going. I'm just like it wasn't good enough to justify that.
Sure.
And there are better places near the Twin Cities to get super cheap Chinese food. There's a place we're just doing local plugs here.
We kind
called
of
Willowgate in Roseville, Minnesota, which is like $5, big plate of sesame chicken, unlimited green tea,
unlimited
an
green
egg
tea.
roll, fried rice, and I think egg drop soup or no sweet and sour soup you can get.
Don't forget the unlimited green tea.
Unlimited green tea.
That's nice. That's a perk.
It is a nice perk. Oh, and how can I also forget a fortune cookie, just so you can plan ahead.
Tim, are you want the take from these guys? I gotta ask. You
Hey man,
these guys right
no,
now?
it's just you haven't seen all those top 10 Chinese food places articles.
Oh, we're not supposed to talk about that, man.
Oh,
That's until the next
shoot.
issue.
Oh, that's right. Those pesky Chinese food advertorials.
Yeah.
All right, so we've been leveling. This is really an amazing spot.
It's a great spot.
I was wondering if it was going to be tricky.
Nope. I wouldn't say it was a good farm spot if it was tricky.
No.
It's just a nice, smooth grind if you want it or need it or.
Also, speaking on behalf of the viewers, I feel like a farm spot like this is maybe the one you would want to. If you had to watch one, it would be something like this. Whereas you could watch like a playthrough of someone trying to grind in a Final Fantasy game or something, and they'll go and grind the hardest enemy because it drops the most XP, even though they could be doing something way more efficient.
I mean, does Final Fantasy games even have grinding anymore? I mean, come on, Tim.
Well, not anymore. Well, you could though, like Final Fantasy 13 on Grand Pulse. There's the behemoths and stuff. That's when things open up a little bit.
I guess you could grind that game, but you'd have to play it first, which would be a horrible mistake.
Yeah,
I just went there.
Dude, one of the worst. Wait, you played it recently?
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
You'd have to.
Oh, you just went there in terms of
like.
Okay.
I mean, okay, maybe it's not very brave to diss on 13, but.
Well, I think it's got it coming a little bit.
Sure does.
I forced myself. I have a life goal, or at least I did. I haven't really revisited my goals recently. To beat all the Final Fantasy games.
Okay. So tell me which ones haven't you played so I can get mad.
1 second. Okay.
I mean, the best thing about the zone is like it's not even hard to get your souls back if you die. This is a virtual no-risk area.
Okay. So I actually forced my way. Yeah. Wait. You'll get mad once you realize what I've done.
I'm gonna get super angry.
I forced my way through Final Fantasy 13-2 because I just wanted to Lightning Returns was on the way, and I just didn't want to fall so behind because Lightning Returns once releases calm down can be like this weird novelty that I just forced my way through.
Okay.
And I want to experience the entire complete fall of I'm not saying they're irredeemable. Okay, there's some interesting stuff going on with the battle systems.
You don't have to say that.
No, I mean it. Not the failing system, paradigm system.
Yeah, okay.
We're fighting a failing system.
We're fighting a failing system.
It has some really cool stuff going on, and it's gorgeous and all that stuff. But I have not played Final Fantasy V.
Okay, I mean that's sort of forgivable. It's one of my favorites, probably in the top 5. But
sure, and I like the it's like the origins of some of the materia system ideas, right?
It's like the absolute storyless job system game.
Oh yeah.
Now technically jobs came out in 3, but 5 is the one that really made them a real thing.
I played 3, the DS remake, and a little.
I don't like it. I'm not a fan of
the
3.
original. I had enough fun with it, but yeah,
it's okay. It's serviceable.
3 is definitely not. It's a little bit better than Final Fantasy 2, and at least 2 had some cool things.
That's a really good description for it.
Yeah.
I think 2 is probably one of the absolute worst.
It's not. It's really interesting in terms of RPGs, but nothing of what you'd want from a Final Fantasy game.
2 is really bad.
I haven't beaten 5 or 9. I've played a lot of 9.
9. It's a lot of 9's a good one.
Yes. I would fall into this trap with Final Fantasy games where I'd get through one in what I thought was decent time.
So you prepared me for a bombshell statement there.
No,
those aren't bad at all. I thought you were gonna say 4 or 6 or something.
I grew up really.
I was gonna freak out.
Final Fantasy. I actually played 6 not that long ago. We did a spoiled on it. Joe Jubin and I probably about maybe 3 years ago or so. That was my first time all the way through it. Okay, there it goes.
All right, we're down.
Yeah.
Flanks have won today.
Is that how it's pronounced? Is it phalanx? Like you say,
I think it's flanks.
Phalanx?
It's straight up flanks.
Okay.
I think. And I'm probably wrong, so someone will correct me about 20 times on YouTube. I can't wait.
I noticed us dancing around it a little bit last episode, and so I was going to look it up in between, but I completely forgot. I thought it was a phalanx, but...
It could be phalanx. It very well could be. It's embarrassing to not know it, but guess what?
We can just call them
I'm
blob
just
shields.
going to say I don't know it. Yeah, let's call them shield lobsters.
Let's call them...
Shield lobster men.
God, there's a good joke somewhere. I'm thinking of it.
Okay.
Oh, look at it. Even pop my soul.
I know, isn't that great?
Yeah.
I told you, this place is like designed for farm.
Anyway, so I mean to go through all the Final Fantasies at some point. I'd like to even play 14. You know what I mean?
14, yeah. Well, I can tell you, I played a lot of 14.
Yeah, worth it for a long-time Final Fantasy fan just to make it through.
I think it's a pretty good MMO. I don't think it's a very good. Yeah, it's not a good traditional Final Fantasy game. It does an excellent job of incorporating concepts from the Final Fantasy universe into an MMO environment.
Not the tallest order at the end of the day.
I mean, they did some really good stuff with that game. Like the original launch was the most. Was it's terrible.
Spectacularly bad.
It was a spectacular.
They
failure.
redid the entire MMO, which is like
Right.
maybe one of the biggest about faces that we've seen in recent times, save for
Sure.
bigger than the Diablo about face, like Diablo 3.
Although I gotta say, the Diablo about face was of the same proportion.
I guess the scope of
right.
not a lot of the content changed as far as
The rebuild didn't take as many resources. Absolutely.
right, but it still is as far as its effect and like how impressive and redeeming it is for that developer. Not that like Blizzard's dying for redemption or anything
No.
like that, but maybe Square Enix needed it a little bit more as far as that.
Yeah, Square, I love them so much because I love a lot of their games.
Yeah, me too.
I love a lot of their franchises, rather. And, I got to tell you, I'm so hopeful for 15.
Yeah.
I'm never going to give, I'm not going to give up. I
Have
really
you played
hope-
any of that episode Duske or whatever?
I haven't, and I know I should, and I plan to.
I wouldn't.
One of these days, really.
I just feel like I like the idea that you still have like this,
Just going blind?
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of that. I
mean-
tell everyone to play Dark Souls that way.
exactly, which is exactly what we're doing here. We're kind of blind.
except that it's not at all, right?
No, it's a little bit.
A little bit.
You don't tell me exactly how to fight all the bosses. And stuff.
I haven't.
Oh, okay. I see that they are blocking it a little bit,
Right.
but
But it just doesn't matter because you're just a big dude with a two-handed sword.
and I think I have noticed that since we've been grinding, I've gotten an extra swipe in.
Have you gotten the critical third swipe? I don't know about that. But
You wanna see it?
Regardless,
You wanna see
no,
it?
I don't want to see it. I don't want to
1, 2,
Yeah, we have it.
3.
Pretty nice.
The last one was way
Very,
too
very
good.
nice and very powerful. And we're going to need that endurance when we get... Like I said, we have 2 of the sets that we want to use here coming up. We have our choice between Hovels or Smo. Smo is probably what we use right away because you can't upgrade it. It's just really strong.
Okay,
And then once we fully upgrade Hovels, we'll move over to that.
that sounds pretty good.
It's a great plan. But first we have to get through the painted world of Ariamis.
I've been thinking recently about actually JRPGs and
We are currently playing a JRPG.
yes,
In a sense.
I am thinking
Although I always
traditional JRPG.
I really hate it when this gets lumped into
it's
other review RPG category.
it's not.
It doesn't feel like that to me.
It doesn't. I think that the Souls games, as much as they are annoyingly compared to everything, it gets a little old, even though it's hard because nothing was quite like this before Demon Souls. But I'm thinking classic JRPGs.
I love the classic JRPG era.
Yeah.
And we just don't see them anymore.
Right.
For the most part, there are exceptions.
And I'm thinking I tried going to Xenoblade Chronicles, and I was really excited for that game to be something that struck a chord with me, even if it was kind of grindy. I played it. Now I'm like at. Don't let me die by that guy. All right.
And, any hollow with a sword.
Right.
You know.
So I played some Xenoblade Chronicles, and I didn't have huge expectations. I played like 70 hours of take like Monster Hunter, not super JRPG,
I don't know, Monster
but in a
Hunter's-
lot of ways it
right.
actually is.
It's like the new new good at JRPG.
Right.
Instead of the crazy story-centric cutscene JRPGs that we've been.
Right.
I know, and I'm not knocking them. I know they're every audience it has its audience. It's just not me anymore.
Right.
Maybe that's because
Not the modern ones.
right.
Yeah. But I mean that doesn't mean that I don't want a good one. And
Oh yeah, I love them. I love classic the classic JRPGs will always be some of my favorite games. Like, we're talking about Xenoblade, Xeno Chronicles, and Xenogears is obvious is like one of the best RPGs ever.
And
it's
I haven't played those ones, so it's good to know that those exist. I realize that I have a pretty like, it's the same thing. Like if someone says like, "Oh, I like sci-fi," I'm like, "Oh, what kind?" You're like, "Well, I really like Star Wars, and I've watched some Star Trek."
Okay,
and that's that's where I realize
that's like saying fantasy. I like Lord of the Rings.
Exactly.
I saw the movies.
Exactly. I'm not saying I'm not guilty of some of that in some genres, but with JRPGs, it's like Final Fantasy and
and Dragon Quest, I'd say, are pretty much are two of the staples you look to immediately.
There's always and I played like Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana.
Okay,
so
yeah.
the Square Enix library, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, back in those days, they could do no wrong.
Nope.
Like every single thing they were putting out was amazing.
It's Mario RPG, and I've played like all of the Mario RPGs, and I've played some. God, I know that there's others in my mind that I have played, and for some reason they're not clicking as I'm playing right now. But also, quick aside.
We're getting there.
What do you do? You have a number in your head?
Some strength there. We don't work with exact math here, exact science.
I thought that was your thing, man.
It is, but we're not. I'm not going to directly tell you.
Okay.
Where to stop putting points.
Come on, just die. All right. So, do you think that I should start clicking any into strength?
No, we're wearing some really heavy stuff, but I think we'll be good. Yeah, I think some strength and some vit might help.
Okay, but after the endurance.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's see.
But you've got a lot of endurance now, so maybe some strength.
Let's see your ugly quarters. The hind ugliness.
There you go. Get in there. Nice job. Killing those things that don't move.
Thanks. Thank you.
I mean, that's what they're there for.
But you know what? If they all hit in unison.
Yeah. This reminds me so much of the lecture room in Bloodborne. There's just a ton of guys that are super dangerous. They're even slimy like them. Like.
Yeah.
You just go in, you kill a bunch of them, and get some souls. I know that was how I got a ton of free levels. I didn't need them, but it's just something I was playing around with near the end of the game.
Well, I mean, we're definitely being rewarded for having a weapon with broad strokes.
Mm-hmm.
This is I'm excited. I think, I'm excited to get these Souls games under my belt, and maybe
once you split up, you might as well just reset them. Like, it's just too dangerous.
Really?
Like, there's so much better to take them out in the pack. I'm just thinking of pure efficiency's sake here.
Sure. I mean, what am I getting each? 500?
500.
Okay. Well, let's see. I think there's a couple grouped over here, so I'll get these.
And once they're split up, they're more dangerous. Like, they can target you.
Sure. That's true, but like, in a world where we don't have that much to lose.
We have absolutely nothing to lose.
Right. It's just a matter of...
This is the most complacent, probably, area you can farm in the game.
You know what? I was looking forward to actually, like, I think part of the fun of doing a full playthrough like this is that you get the highlights and, like, the lowlights. And I'm not saying that this is a complete lowlight, but
I mean,
this is a necessary part.
It's not necessary.
Well,
I mean, theoretically, you can beat the game at level 1, right?
For sure. I'm saying for our means, for my abilities and familiarity with Dark Souls. No one tries to do a level... Well, I'm not going to say that. I'm sure there's been people that have done level 1 playthroughs in their first go-through.
No, probably someone has done that.
Right,
but that's not us. We're having fun.
That's not the norm.
We're talking about, It Follows and JRPGs, that kind of thing.
I'm still trying to think of like a good way that you can combine like Blob with 300,
Blob with that would be the worst thing ever, I think.
But that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
It's essentially it. I don't know. But what is the deal with the we joked about this a little bit, but when I was in Japan, I saw more instances of like the like speaking of Bloodborne and the lectern.
Okay.
The weird Japanese mascot dude that has the like graduation cap and stuff on and looks exactly like he's from the lectern hall. What is that character?
Wait, what?
He's like the smiley yellow slime.
Mr. Assassin. He's from like some J series.
His name's Mr. Assassin.
Justin Mikos, one of our interns, he introduced me to this character.
Yeah. It's got Justin Mikos written all over it.
I think there was actually, like, on my flight there, there was actually a movie starring him that I could watch.
I need to look into that because, like, it immediately reminded me of those slime students. And, like, it makes me wonder if...
I will not be looking into that, but it's a curious oddity.
Question. Sure. Is it so pervasive in Japan and such a big, like, a popular thing that slimes in a game by a Japanese developer with graduation garb on could be a nod to that?
I don't I don't think so. I really don't.
Okay. All right.
But I'm no expert on Japanese culture. All right. We'll be good at 30 equip load. All right. What are we at?
Yeah, we're at 111.
Yeah. Of what?
Oh, of equip load?
Yeah. What are we using?
You want me to look at my equipment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just real quick.
Well, we might be able to. No. Wait. Could we equip better armor even now?
We don't. There's armor right now. Don't worry about it, man. Like,
Okay.
We're getting two new sets real soon.
Okay. So you want me to dive in here? All right. This is what we're looking at.
Yeah. I want to see like what our weight is currently to our.
Oh, so like this. Okay.
Yeah. 40, 41. Okay, that's good. That's good.
So my roll's probably gotten better, hasn't it?
You're still in mid tier, I think.
Okay. So do we want to grab?
That's where we're gonna stay.
Okay. Let's grab some numbers for what your thing.
Let's get some vit next.
Okay.
We want to make you
30,
survive.
or is 30 too high?
I mean, whenever you're ready to leave, we can leave.
I mean, this is even if we have the one where they grind. If that's an episode,
It looks like it is going to be an episode, right?
you know what you're getting is some Dark Souls gameplay by definition.
By definition.
And then
It's true.
and some conversation. I feel like, similar to fighting the undead dragon last time, we're able to just kind of dig in. And people at this point, I mean, episode 15.
It's true. We haven't grinded at all.
You're also people are just you're in it by now, and we
I
thank
hope
you
so.
for watching.
We really do.
It's
Look at that. There you got it now. That's what you have to do right there.
that was the best one yet.
That was how you do it.
And you got to make sure that you don't get any of that shield.
And they're just very open to this. So
They're into it.
yeah,
I think that they're into it.
that's why I suggested the spot.
This makes me wonder if did Miyazaki read 300? Probably.
I would say okay. So going to Miyazaki, like I see so much tabletop influence now there after knowing that he's like a huge tabletop gaming fan.
Right.
Like you go back to Demon's Souls, Tower of Latry with Mind Flayers. It's like this is a D&D level, man.
Uh-huh.
Like it's crazy how you can see.
It's
Maybe that's how he approaches level design.
It's like he's dusted off old D&D campaigns, and he's just like, actually, these are all these will work, and
right.
you wouldn't know.
He just adds his own personal, crazy, scary, nightmarish touch to everything, and then you're good to go because it works.
His D&D friends are like, I'm gonna check out this new Dark Souls game. Like, hold on a second.
Yeah,
I did this.
one thing I didn't get to ask him, is he the dungeon master at his D&D game? Because I bet he is like the most.
Oh yeah, that's a really good question. For sure, right?
We just didn't have time,
No, that's a good question though. If I would have thought of it, I would have thrown it out there.
Yeah, it would. Oh, jeez. There's so. I mean, I still had another book of questions to ask, but we just couldn't get around to it.
That's all right.
That's fine.
Part of the game.
It's Dark Souls, man.
Oh, that felt good. Got that going.
Dark Souls is a game of many secrets.
That's true. One secret that isn't well kept is that these guys are easy to grind.
Actually, I don't think that the player would know that.
Well, at least as of now, I guess.
Right. Yeah, so if you're in the painted world of Ariamis, these guys are pretty easy grind.
If you find yourself in the painted world,
with a repair box, I hope, because Tim's sword is definitely feeling some wear and tear at this point.
yeah, but not as much wear and tear as these idiots.
Yeah, these guys just keep dying over and over.
What a bunch
It's like
of
they don't learn.
What a bunch of morons.
Yeah, stupid morons. I had trouble saying it incorrectly.
Yeah. So, I think this is enough for a level. And we said that we were going.
Let's get some fit in there.
Fit.
Yeah, look at that.
No, that'll allow me to hang. It's tough. It's that'll allow me to hang in there and
Exactly.
and absorb some more hits, or I could go for strength and maybe knock them out a little bit faster.
Let's get both.
Why not?
Why not both, as I'm fond of saying.
Good gosh. Good golly.
Jeez, oh Pete.
Jeez, oh Pete.
Sorry.
I would bet my bottom dollar that someone from Mad Men said that at some point.
Really?
Or maybe that's just because there's
I
a
don't
character
know.
named Pete.
I don't know about that.
Pete Campbell and his fake hairline.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Mad Men. I haven't kept up with it since season. What was it?
Good
4?
series.
I know it's a good one.
Very.
I'm aware.
I fell off at a certain point, but overall, I'd say pretty consistent in the long run.
I did too.
Not as consistent as something like maybe Breaking Bad, but
Yeah, well, Breaking Bad was like.
it's another.
I would actually stop what I was doing to go watch Breaking Bad.
Sure.
That was certainly an epic.
Have we talked about?
It just shows how good TV can be these days. Still.
It's sort of after stuff like I guess I haven't seen The Wire, but I know that
Oh, oh boy, I get in trouble for this one a lot.
the Game Informer office, specifically has a ton of Wire fans.
Right, and I get in trouble because I really said, I'm going to do this. I watched the entire first season. I'm like, I don't get what the fuss is about at all.
You don't actively dislike it, but you're just not enticed enough to keep going.
I'm like, I don't care. This is not a show that I'm interested in.
And, maybe that's just, the sort of cop drama. I know it's not procedural. It's known for having, like, cop drama that isn't by the books, the cheesy stuff.
I mean, everyone thinks I'm nuts for it, but it's like, I can't get into it. It's like, I didn't think it was, like, terrible or anything. It's just like, all right.
Yeah.
This is a thing.
That's all right.
I could watch it.
That happens. I mean, I want to get around to it. Did you like True Detective? I'm assuming that
season 1.
You made it through. Yeah,
I did. I certainly did make it through season 1.
Season 2.
And I think everything went out the window in season 2. I think the strong elements of the show were actually in season 1 with the supernatural elements.
Yeah, or the
obviously
implied.
you had 2 amazing personalities backing everything up too. And not to say that season 2 doesn't have that, but
also they're maybe, in my opinion, their best roles of their entire lives.
Wow, that's a really high commendation.
Well, all right. I mean, I don't have complete knowledge of that I have seen. Those 2 actors, McConaughey and Harrelson, didn't have like a lot to live up to in my mind.
I think they both played their roles very well in that, and I unfortunately, again, I think that a lot of the story was carried by the mysteriousness. Like with Dark Souls, the story wasn't explicitly told or whatever. Like
right.
Exactly the same kind of thing, and that kept me really interested. And when those went out the window, like season 2 is unfortunately one of the not good.
Maybe the most disappointing second season of television that I've seen in recent.
It had to live up to a lot, sure, but it didn't even come. No, just no.
For everything from the acting to the story to the pacing and stuff. Whereas I think True Detective's pacing is just like.
It was on point. Like, it didn't have any extraneous episodes. It got work done.
Mm-hmm.
It got through it. I wouldn't even say it was the most unique story by any stretch. It just did it well.
Right. Exactly. But can you think of anything from McConaughey or Harrelson that you're just kind of like, actually, this is a really good performance?
Well, I'm a fan of both actors, like Harrelson especially. So I don't know, but above those, it's difficult for me to discern without a filmography in front of me. But I absolutely could find something.
Is he in? Is it 12 Monkeys? Is a big Woody Harrelson one?
Was he in there?
Is the right movie?
I don't think you are.
Okay.
That's Brad Pitt and
Bruce
Willis.
There's something like that. Maybe it had a number in it. But I know that there's an important Woody Harrelson movie that I haven't seen. I haven't seen White Man Can't Jump.
He's had a number of them. I haven't seen that either.
Okay. I've seen Cheers.
Okay.
I remember the other day not the other day, this was like a month, like months ago. I was trying to remember, like, God, what was Woody's name in Cheers? What was Woody Harrelson's name? What did they call Woody in that show?
You know what? No one knows.
No one.
And you know what? I used to watch that show pretty regularly as well.
Are you serious though?
Like that in Seinfeld, yeah.
His name's Woody.
Is it?
In Cheers.
Oh, I see. I didn't even remember that.
I didn't really like Cheers.
And I used to watch that show a lot.
Did you? I loved Frasier to death.
Yeah.
But
how could you like Frasier, not Cheers? Cheers was superior to Frasier in a lot of ways. I mean, Frasier has its own identity, and I like what they did with that. Like, it wasn't just a spin-off of the same show.
I think I just like the personalities of the characters, and the characters are. Oh, jeez.
I can see you liking the extraordinarily dry humor of.
I did.
Of Frasier.
You know what?
Maybe seems like a Tim thing to me.
Now that you mention it, I don't know. Maybe it played some part in me, developing my sense of humor. Wouldn't it be amazing if you could look back and figure out, like, really pinpoint, like, that came from this, that came from this?
That would be really scary, but yes.
Actually,
cool.
if you sat down and thought about it enough and, like, lined up the years of your life with those things, I mean, like, I think we all got that common Simpsons DNA in us as far as humor.
That's the thing that you could not ignore.
No, and, like, but the weird thing about the Simpsons is, like, there's so many different writers' voices in there that you can't just point to the Simpsons and say, like, that's where I got my sense of humor, because it encompasses so many different types of senses.
It's true, but I mean, there was clearly a fall off. Like,
well, yeah,
man, there was just like a drop off a cliff.
Yeah.
At some point, at some point, I stopped caring about it.
And it's amazing how heavily it is still quoted.
I know.
To how little any of us know what's happened in maybe the last 3 years.
Probably more than that. Way more than that for me. Like.
The last thing of note that I could actually point to, like, hey, there's probably a change in the show here, is when, who was the voice actor that left the show?
It was one of the major ones. Yeah. That was recent though. That was like within the last year.
It was, and I haven't seen anything since then. But
I haven't watched the show in a lot longer than that. But I was always, I always kept up with it every single week.
But you know what?
Growing up,
at least we haven't had to endure some sort of weird Simpsons reboot. Like,
oh, don't even. What a nightmare
I know,
that would be.
and I haven't even thought about it. It's like Bart's nightmare. It's,
that's awful.
I've never even thought about that, but it's incredible that we haven't had to deal with that BS yet, especially given the era of reboots and.
I got to tell you, I'm really sick of the era of reboots. I sound like an angry old man, but I'm so tired of reboots.
Sure.
Like, because now we have like 2 reboots for stuff that came out last year.
Right.
Like, come on.
Well, and the stuff that we've talked about, like when you just point to like what we've been talking about as far as video games and as far as TV and movies for that point too, is like look at True Detective, look at Breaking Bad. Like those came from nowhere, really.
Right.
Like True Detective season 1 is like
they
vaguely booked on like the Yellow King stuff.
Super very, very light elements, yeah.
Yes, but otherwise it came from just someone's mind. And, similar to Dark Souls, it's like this is just its own thing. It's not based on some book. It's not like even better new game IPs of like Metro or something like that. Like, oh, well, that was a book. Or Witcher. It's just like, actually, that was a book too. Everything was something else before, and everything is kind of a reboot or a remake.
Sure, and you're absolutely right. But I understand that from the company perspective, it's dangerous to take risks with new original stuff. But I'm really glad to see it every time.
Right. And then within video games, you can get like these weird sort of reboots within them, where it's like ones that are worthwhile, where it's like Resident Evil, or now, not that it matters for the longevity of the franchise, but Metal Gear, where it's like, oh, you have done this amazing thing with this franchise that was really polarizing for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with 4 being probably the most polarizing entry. How'd you get over here?
He sludged his way there.
Oh, boy. I'm sludging my way over here. And to do something new with it. And it's so fun to hear, like, so much, I don't know, unrestrained enthusiasm for a Metal Gear series or title, especially with the fact that it doesn't try to really be Metal Gear in the way that the series has tried to be Metal Gear for years.
Sure.
Which is obtuse controls and
Dark Souls.
Too much stories? Yeah. Yeah, Dark Souls a little bit.
Actually, the story. Oh, gosh. Like, the old Metal Gear games when, like, you just get into a sequence and all of a sudden it would be, like, an hour-long diatribe, like, completely...
Yeah.
And you know what? After a while, I started to really like that. Like,
oh,
it's just
for
like,
sure.
These are unique, and I dig that.
3 had maybe some of the best.
Three, at the end with boss, right? That was Snake Eater, yeah?
Yeah, or,
right.
The Codex, obviously, there's the famous ones where it's like...
Right, where it's all of a sudden, there's just like an actual 30-minute cutscene.
Right.
It's just like, what is going on here? And the plot just sort of like, this, then this, then this, then this. It's like, it's actually like narrating a book to you.
Yep, we need it all in there.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. It's really eclectic storytelling.
But a beautiful thing that it exists.
Yeah, I agree. Like, if there's one thing I'm not a fan of, it's just like a strict homogenized gameplay experience, point A to point B.
Right.
Telling you everything that's going to happen.
Well, and that's the thing is where I'm excited enough for, another Uncharted game, but to me, like, when I see like crazy people, like people falling over themselves with Nathan Drake fandom and crazy anticipation. No.
Let them like their thing.
I
get
let
that.
them like it, but what I'm saying is that I just feel disconnected from that.
Sure.
Because to me, like you were saying, point A to point B, like the way I like to play Uncharted games is to crank it down on an easier difficulty level so I can play it like it's me, like totally empowered action movie guy.
Sure.
And I enjoy the ride, but I don't love it for its gameplay. And that's wouldn't be an important thing because like there's games like Gone Home or even something like Amnesia where it's like the gameplay to me isn't really the point as much.
I loved Amnesia and I'm really excited for Soma. The second game wasn't as good as the first. Obviously, a different studio did that.
Right, Chinese Room, the
yep.
Rapture people. But regardless, I enjoy those games, but I don't get as excited for something like that as opposed to like Dark Souls 3 where I'm super excited to play that because I know the moment-to-moment gameplay and the progression loop and the areas. Like, it's about...
you've already got a pretty good idea what's going to be happening in Dark Souls 3.
Please take note of what's happening in Dark Souls 1 here and expect things like this, but it looks better with different enemies and new surprises.
Yeah, I think they've done a lot of refinement from the systems. Like, you can see how sort of obtuse the weapon enhancing system is in this game compared to 2.
Right.
It's much easier to digest there. In this one, you have to, to get a soul weapon, you've got to, take a weapon to +10 and then turn it into another weapon instead of just, I'm going to make this soul a weapon.
That sounds like Monster Hunter, actually.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter is super obtuse as well.
Big fan of Monster Hunter 2, and I wish I'd see it on a platform that I didn't have to squint to play on.
Well, and you have like you have an original 3DS too as well. But,
yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing. And you know, it's been really fun. One of the things I'm going to be 30 in November. On November 1st, I'll the big 3-0, right?
You're such a young man.
I'm a youngin', right? When I started Game Informer, I was one of the youngest people here, and now it's weird to like, I don't know. I guess I'm still not as old as some people here, but still, it's amazing it's already been this long. But all that is to say, not like, hey, it's almost my birthday, guys.
That's what he's saying, everyone. Yeah. Remember, it's Tim's birthday while you're watching this.
Not actually? No, absolutely not. We'll be done by then. I hope we're not still going.
Yeah, one more.
One more in Vid.
But I'm not supposed to tell you, but yeah, one more.
And then go over to Strength after
we're getting lots of... These are all extra levels.
It feels good. It feels really good.
You're going to be very powerful.
All that is to say is that, you know, one thing that I fear as far as like getting older is getting closed off to things. Especially when it's something like, I think in part it's my job to not close myself off and, you know, be like, oh, not just write off MOBAs. Like, I might not understand everyone's enthusiasm for Dota or League of Legends or something like that because on an intimate level.
Sure.
Because I haven't gotten the
I don't think it's an age thing, Tim. I'm an old man and I love MOBAs.
That's great. But like just being willing to remain open to falling in love with new things, whether it's music or movie or TVs or TV or tech. Mm-hmm. You know, I just don't want to. At one point, like, you know, this is maybe getting personal, but it's not going to go into too weird of an area.
Okay,
but like,
I dig it.
My dad, like, at a certain point, like, his and I relationship could have gone a different route if, when I handed him a Sega Genesis controller, we're like, hey, do you want to play this game with me? And he didn't just say, like, you know, my hand-eye coordination's not great, so I'm not going to play this.
Sure.
And I don't ever want to be in that situation where it's just like, you know, I'm not good at this. I know what I like, and it's not this, so I'm not even going to really try.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever want to be in that situation, which is why I'm happy that like I came around on these From Software games hugely, and also on Monster Hunter, and more recently like Street Fighter, and it's just like, all right, it's never too late to understand and also like full-heartedly appreciate something.
Yeah, I agree totally.
And also, like, this is a bit of an aside as well, but like I don't think it's ever too late to like. I'm not going to become like a professional boxer or anything like that. It might be too late for that, but
it might be too late for that, Tim. I hate to tell you this.
I'm not going to become like.
I don't want to be a downer.
Probably not going to become the Michael Jordan of anything because I didn't start or like doing something at the earliest possible age. But it's never too late to like learn a new skill and become like borderline masterful at it. One of like the most inspiring things I'd heard was. I remember when my first cover story trip was for Resistance 3, and I was really excited because I liked the Resistance games. 2 wasn't my favorite, but I liked parts of it, and always been a huge Insomniac fan. And I met the creators of that game and interviewed them extensively for that cover story trip. It was Marcus Stewart and Drew Murray. And Drew was an interesting case because he was the lead designer on Resistance 3, and then those two actually went on to be the heads of Sunset Overdrive. Mm-hmm. And I learned that Drew had been a lawyer up to age 33.
Sure.
So he had been in this completely, I'm sure there's probably connections you can make, but like otherwise you can't choose probably a more opposite career
path.
Different.
It's pretty different.
From designing like one of the most well-received, like Sunset Overdrive was sort of a return to form, people thought, for Insomniac. Obviously that speaks to that guy's character, but it also speaks to the fact that like if you care enough about anything and you're willing to put the time into it and put your faith into it, that you can change course or develop a new skill at any point and it's not too late, and you can succeed.
It's a very, very inspiring speech, Tim. Well, it's sort of like Dark Souls, you know? If you can see it, you can go there.
That's a very good point. But like unfortunately, the other edge of that thing is like, well, now I have this success story in my mind and there's also an age attached to it. Like, well, as long as you're 33 or younger, you can make it happen.
Hey, whatever. In this day and age, man, you got technology. You can do whatever you want.
Sure.
Just do it.
You know, either of us could sit down and start taking online programming courses and maybe one day make something that resembled a game. Or, you know, start learning another language, whatever. We might not be as fast as someone who picked it up earlier.
Don't tell anybody that I'm working on Dan Souls, man. You're giving it away.
Dan Souls. I'm excited, man. I've been a supporter of Dan Souls since the day we met.
Yeah. So it's going to be a classic, I can tell.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, it's just there's a lot of opportunities out there these days. But you're right. In a lot of cases, you really do have to work for them.
Right. And
they're like hard.
And it's easy. Like I'm sure you've met and maybe been one of those people where it's someone will get super into something for like a month or two, and then they're distracted by something else. Not to say that isn't cool to gather all these experiences, but it also stops you from becoming masterful at that. You know.
Absolutely.
People that pick up the guitar for a little bit and then this other instrument, and then now I'm trying to work on painting. There's nothing wrong with that, but like at a certain point, you got to dig down deep and just commit, even to when it's not the most fun. Yeah. Anyway.
Sure.
And that's how I approach Dark Souls. Dark Souls is sort of like a microcosm of that.
But the thing is, people say Dark Souls isn't fun. I think it's the most fun.
There were points when I was playing Dark Souls 2 that I was, it was like right around before Hyde's Tower of Flame. And actually, you could say it was when I was trying to play Dark Souls 1 for the first time, where it's just like the hours I put into that, the dozen or whatever it wasn't a huge number when you could think of the context of these games. Just how I had to power through it at a certain point and be like, all right, where's that point? Where's the point where it's going to be like all starting to click? And
right.
it wasn't coming, and it's just you have to get past that hump. And sometimes you just have to power through it, and other times it's just going to kind of come right away, and you realize you like it. But more often than not, I feel like you get to power through it a little bit. Monster Hunter was the same way.
It feels like to me, one of Miyazaki's philosophies, like his goal is to make the player happy, and I think that's true.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have victory without some kind of challenge.
Correct.
If it's just handed to you, it means nothing.
Correct. Yeah, it's the little engine that could reward.
It's something. It is exactly like that.
Which I earned in 8th grade track, but that's besides the point.
The game already has sort of its own difficulty slider.
Right.
Which we're doing right now. Hey, you need some levels, you need some gear.
Exactly.
Whatever.
If you're willing to put in the time, you can get some easy XP.
You can do whatever you set your mind to. Yada yada yada.
Yada yada.
It's there.
So we need 2,000 more. We can get another.
And after that, you think we're going to be ready to go, or do you want to keep farming?
I mean,
we've already made this the farm episode.
At this point, it might almost just be the farm episode. And
yeah,
then,
that's fine.
And then maybe we could end it by
that.
taking a glimpse at how much faster we're dropping enemies after this.
Well, I don't know. We put a lot in endurance. So
right, so it might not be that readily apparent because it wasn't.
It's going to become really apparent when we can wear the next 2 sets of armor.
That's going to probably be really empowering, I think.
Yeah, you're going to be Havel the Rock or Smo the Executioner.
Yeah, have Rock, will Havel, right?
Yeah.
Is that what they say?
They don't say that.
No one says that?
They don't say that, man. But,
hey, have you seen the movie Monster Squad?
It was on Netflix. Turned it on for about 15 minutes and I turned it off. I know you liked it,
pour
right?
yourself a drink and just give in.
How many?
You're gonna want a few. You're actually gonna want to preload a few.
All right.
And dive into that weird ass movie. It's basically Stand By Me meets.
That's exactly what it looked like.
Yeah.
It looked like I don't know, like the Fisher Price version of It.
Yes, I mean it was. It was. It's Universal monsters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you can embrace that camp,
all right.
Respawn is weird. If you can embrace that camp and appreciate it for just how 80s-y it is so 80s-y.
I like 80s-y horror movies.
Yeah, A to Z. Yeah.
It's not a horror movie though, right? It's like a comedy.
So, no, it is. It's a comedy. There's some if you were a kid, there'd be some spooky parts.
Right.
But other than that, it's just campy fun.
Right. So it's not going to be like Sleepaway Camp or anything, all right?
No.
Okay. All right, I'll check it out.
Sleepaway Camp also.
On your recommendation.
Maybe in contrast to the rest of the film, one of the most terrifying final frames of a film.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's a weird one.
It's not even because of the reveal. And
I don't think anyone cares about the reveal. Although they played it up really hard in the few movies. It's always like, yeah, but that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and it's almost not even worth mentioning in case you want to experience Sleepaway
Not
Camp.
that they murdered all those campers. Just that was a big deal.
Right.
Oops. If you don't know, Sleepaway Camp is like a really, I guess it's a series sort of made on the kills.
Yeah.
Much like other horror movies.
Exactly. Very much a slasher, but the final frame is just like a really twisted.
It's a weird one.
Twisted. It's mostly just like the weird distortions
There's
to the
a noise.
face.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the noise.
The noise. It's a distortion. The noise.
I actually just got a chill in my spine thinking back to Because like that movie, the rest of the movie was such a write-off, especially if you.
Oh, the movies are all like.
Yeah.
I think they're interesting watches for a home movie fan because they're just straight like there's no plot.
No.
There's nothing. It's just like straight up. Let's start killing people.
And by how kind of like I don't know, just nonplussed. Is that the right word? Just sort of like. I totally just wrote it all off and wasn't paying attention, and then that final frame like really got me to the point where someone in our I watched the entire Super Elite Play of Overblood Facebook group. Some of our biggest fans.
Yeah, they're a cool group. I hear
they're amazing.
I might talk to them sometimes.
I think we might spend a lot of time talking to them. But Hillary in there, she made her profile picture that final frame, and
that's a scary thing to make your avatar.
I don't want to see this thing.
Yeah,
I don't want to look at it.
It's unnerving. It's a little bit unnerving.
Yeah. Anyway, it's probably laughable by today's like Photoshop internet standards, but
probably
it still does a number on me. Brings back those memories.
Yeah, it's a cult series in the genre.
It's true. So this is probably. I wonder if this is. What are our soul levels up to now?
I don't know, but we're getting pretty big. Like I'm pretty confident in our ability to do a lot of stuff now. Yeah, we're getting pretty.
All right.
The next time we fight a hard boss, it's going to be with a new armor set before we even go in there. So we're just going to if you ever wanted to go into Orange Season Smoke with an edge, you've got it. I mean, outside of your weapon, we'll still figure out how to upgrade that. We must be missing an Ember somewhere. But we got the one from the depths.
It's weird because sometimes I feel like you can just like, in Minnesota especially, you can drive around and you see embers everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a restaurant.
I totally missed. Is that a pizza place?
No, it's like a Perkins.
Oh, Oh God.
Yeah, it's a Denny's. Perkins
I didn't have
type.
Perkins anywhere else I've ever lived until now, and let me tell you, it's a weird thing
really?
for me. Yeah.
Oh, was it like what, a Country Inn or something like that?
I mean, there's always going to be that home style place.
Yeah.
So we've had places like that, but Perkins was a new experience.
Perkins, honestly, in a pinch for a 24-hour place, not terrible. If you get the right thing.
You're putting that caveat in there already, like for a 24-hour place. Yeah.
If you need to sit down and eat something, and a slice of pie, a milkshake, which those things can be hard to screw up when you really want it.
Slice of pie,
a
cup of coffee,
quesadilla,
a quesadilla, and a cafe.
A cafe. I'll take a quesadilla. I mean, it's cheese and like salsa and sour cream,
right?
So I mean, you can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong. That sounds delicious right now.
When you were younger, were you ever prepared just cheese roll-ups?
Cheese roll-ups.
Just basically cheese melted.
I know it.
Tortilla.
Yep. No.
It's the most basic damn thing.
I mean, it doesn't sound. There's nothing that sounds bad about it.
No, there's not. I mean, you can even buy them at Taco Bell. I'll actually sometimes buy one of those just to pop in my face on the way home. Is this? Are you saying like, are we big enough right now?
Yeah, I think we are. But hey, keep going to your heart's content. We got 8 more minutes, right?
We do. But I could.
This is already the farm episode.
I know, but we could get one more strength.
We don't want to make people watch this one when they could move on to the next progression one.
That's true.
So I say let's keep it going. Get another endurance.
You think so? One more?
And
all right. Okay.
Get some heavy armor coming, man.
Okay.
Or maybe a Vit. I don't know.
Otherwise, I could take a stab at like just some of the enemies in the zone. Just to.
I mean, our next big thing is to walk through the rest of the zone and get to the boss.
Yeah. Just to like
crossbreed Priscilla.
I could just like stick my toes in the water, maybe. Even these guys have gotten easier to kill, thankfully.
I know we haven't really increased stats that would make them easier to kill, so we've been preparing for the future.
Right. I don't know, maybe I'm just getting better at going.
You are. You're getting more efficient, becoming a deadly machine.
Deadly slime 300 killing machine.
You're becoming Escape from New York.
Snake Plissken?
Kurt Russell. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I really wish he would have been in more movies.
Yeah, man.
He's a cool character.
Snake Plissken's amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
I know that there was there's talk, I think that John Carpenter was talking about, like, there was a movie not long ago, I think, that shared the same premise.
Didn't I hear about a Big Trouble in Little China reboot? I was really disturbed to hear about that. Gosh,
I heard about that, but
please no.
He was also, and I love that movie, but he was talking about Escape from Earth. Basically,
we might as well do that one next.
Right.
I agree. I'm down for that.
But he was saying that thing that was sort of like what Del Toro was saying with At the Mountains of Madness, where it's like, well, this has pretty much been made. Whereas like Del Toro was talking about that with Prometheus, he felt like it was too similar.
Sure.
I don't know if you remember that conversation, but I would still love to see Carpenter's Escape from Earth. I
would love to see that.
I love that
Let's
man
do it.
to death. I do not have much faith that would be incredible, but once you get Kurt Russell involved,
yeah. Oh gosh.
it's like
I don't know if it's just me, but Kurt Russell is the ultimate movie wild card. If he's in a movie, it like makes the movie 10 times better.
Have you seen Furious 7 yet?
No.
Because I know he's in it.
It's just like a cameo, though, right? He's not a... Is he a major role?
I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
It would really test that wild card strategy.
All right. I guess I'm going to have to watch Fury 7 now.
I want to watch it. It's interesting how much people came around in that series.
I am still not, I think the series is okay. It's like those are airplane movies for me.
It was actually on the airplane coming back and forth from Japan for this trip.
There you go.
I still didn't watch it.
Oh,
weirdly enough, I watched Wonderland, Tomorrowland, and
yeah, we talked about that one.
We did, and
so have I don't know if I've told told the public yet that I actually like that movie. So I'll go on the record.
There's a lot of cool. There's good stuff going on in Tomorrowland.
I readily admit that the third act of that movie is the worst in any movie ever.
And you told me that going into it. I think I would have agreed with you either way.
Super bad, like it's just terrible. I thought the first part, like it's just a really fun, wondrous, like. People think of me as like this jaded Dark Souls guy, like I like to be able to get a new movie like that. That's just like it's a really fun and like look at awesome technology and cool potential. Yeah,
it's fun, futuristic CG for the sake of it. It's basically a vehicle. It feels like a vehicle for that stuff. I know that. I can't remember the creator's name. Toy Story, Incredibles, whatever. Future Star Wars director. I can't remember his name.
I can't either.
Regardless, I know he probably had some stuff that he really wanted to communicate in there, but it was just some kind of silly fun.
Okay, yeah, again, the third act is all like preachy and weird and terrible dialogue.
Right.
Like it's like someone else wrote it completely. It's like we need an ending, guys.
Come on, let's finish this up.
Let's phone this sucker in.
Have you seen The Guest?
Yes. Yeah. It just came out on Netflix, right?
Yeah, you're right. Did you end up liking that?
Completely forgettable to me.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Did you know the premise and the twist and all that?
No, not going in.
Huh. All right. Well, I mean, I don't want to dive into that too much because it's on Netflix and it's newish. So if people are watching this and want to try, give it a shot, like you should. I actually really liked it. I knew nothing besides the name.
Yeah, any kind of movie that goes into the thriller or horror bucket that's on Netflix that I haven't seen, I've seen it. Like it goes into my queue immediately.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I really liked it. I'll recommend it. I'd be curious to hear what people have to say. What were we doing again? We were going to pump one into
strength, maybe?
Strength? Okay. Hit harder?
Yeah, hit harder.
All right. So for the last couple of minutes for this, let's just go and hit something that we've been hitting in here.
Yeah, let's just kill it again. Like, there's no point to do anything but farm in this episode since we're going to make that known. I hope this falls on like a Friday or something so just people can be like, yeah, whatever.
I think that people are going to watch it and they're going to have enjoyed watching us do this.
I hope we had some stirring conversation.
I really enjoyed our conversation, and I can only guess that, you could at least pop this on in the background, check in from time to time, see how many levels we accrued.
Now, that was a good one right there.
That felt really good, I'm not going to lie. And then, listen to it like a podcast.
I've heard some people are actually doing that with it already.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of how you have to devote your time. I mean, when I was watching, really like awesome games done quick and Evo and stuff like that, at a certain point, you got to have something else going on.
Right.
It's the age of multitasking.
It really is.
How it works anyway. To a fault, obviously. Not that we have to open that can of worms, but do you ever just find yourself like being like checking your phone and you're just like, what the hell am I doing right now?
Tim, that's every day for me, man.
Okay. Because I get home and sometimes I just toss my phone like across the room and just step away from it. And
it'd be nice to do that. It feels bizarre. It feels like I'm almost attached to it now, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It feels like it's complete dependence.
Like if you don't have it, it's like I'm disconnected from the world completely right now.
And it's tough because like we live in a time where like no one chastises anyone for being on their phone too much.
Because everyone's on their phone.
Really? Yeah. I mean, like you look around the office here, like everyone's always on their phone. I remember honestly, like when I
run back right now.
Okay. When I started at Game Informer, and I would be like texting or like on my phone at my desk. And
back when texting was a thing, when we still needed to do that.
Right.
I mean, it's like it's astonishing.
I still text a lot, but
yes.
Wait, do I sit here and do it?
You can use your repair box.
Anyway, if someone walked by that was someone that I like a boss of mine or something, like I didn't want him to see me doing that, and so. But now it's just a given. You could be checking Twitter. You could be answering work emails. You could be doing anything. And, it's just assumed that, like, hey, people are going to be on their phone.
It's part of life.
I still do my best to try to, like...
I used to really struggle. Like, maybe 5-10 years ago, it was a real thing to say, like, don't be on your phone.
Right.
But now it just seems ridiculous to say
Right.
something like that. It's just like for better or worse. Like it's an unhealthy symbiotic relationship.
I think it is, and there are subtle social cues you can make.
And the interesting thing is, like, will we ever see pushback to this, or we're going to go deeper down that rabbit hole with the next technology upgrade?
It's a tough. Like, I was in line at the airport, and a little girl was losing her mind, crying so much, and the mom was trying her best for 10, 15 minutes just to like get this little girl to be quiet, like, hey, daddy, you'll see daddy soon, blah blah blah, all this stuff, and then she busted out an iPad, said, hey, you want one of your books? And like, I don't know what she defines a book as.
Right.
She pulled out just like this sort of like, hey, touch things and they happen, and it's colorful, and the kid was just not a peep. And I feel like that silver bullet would be so hard to resist as a parent.
Gosh, no, for real. Like, I remember when I had to read books.
Yeah, exactly. But now, like, you're
real
gonna
old days.
Bunch of youngins maybe raised with those, like really youngins. I'm saying
like we've got to finish here, but like
Yeah.
I mean, like even just touch devices, like
Right.
keyboards are not gonna be a thing. It's gonna be touch and voice.
You're absolutely right. What should we pop it into? Vit?
Let's a Vit.
Okay.
Can't
Or
hurt
even
someone
30
patting
on string?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's get there. All right.
Anyway, so that's our episode.
That's the farm episode.
Eventually, all analog controls will be replaced with digital. Obviously, that's what we're saying here.
That's what we're saying.
With virtual keyboards and joysticks and stuff. But anyway, that's episode 15 in the can. Join us next time for episode 16. We're done grinding, probably for a while.
We're going bass fishing next time, so make sure you join us.
We're going bass fishing, apparently, and we'll find out what that means. So,
we will.
Thanks for watching. Bye.